Mic check 1 2. It is Thursday, October 8th. I went into work early again today so I could leave early and get back down to the spot. I'm on public land in southeast Ohio, kind of near Wayne National, or part of Wayne National Forest. And I had like a cold front come through last night / this morning. It dropped down like 10 degrees, so nothing much, but at least something. It was like almost 80 yesterday, and now I think the high today was like 70. I ended up not seeing anything when I came in last Friday, but there's just way too much sign to ignore in here. You can hear the acorns dropping all over, and there's rubs all over the place. And when I was in here last Friday, there was a new scrape that had opened up since the weekend before when I came in here to speed scout. So I know this spot's hot. I think I was running in a little bit late last time. And when I was getting in, I think I ended up bumping a deer out of here. They didn't blow, but it sounded like they got up out of their bed or maybe just bound off a couple times, or took a couple leaps and then just kind of walked off. I didn't have as much wind cover as they were calling for, so with all these crunchy leaves, it was kind of hard to sneak in unheard. But today I was able to get in a lot earlier, and I'm all set up and hoping to see something tonight. And if not, I'll be headed down to our property early tomorrow morning. So it's going to be a long night. Probably not much sleeping, because it's an 1.5-hour drive back home, and then an 1.5-hour drive down to our property in the morning. And I have to wake up at like 2:30 to get down to our property and get set up on time. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to get off here because I've got maybe an 1.5 hours left of legal shooting time. And I'm going to get settled in, and we'll see what happens. Today was a pretty uneventful day. I really thought I'd have a lot of success back there in the spot that I was set up based on historical information, not so much going off of the current sign, which is what I should have done. But I knew that spot has been great in the past, so that's why I went back there. I didn't start hunting back there until about November of last year or last season. So all the movement that I had experienced in the past was all at a different time of the year. I've never hunted back there this early in the season, so I really didn't know what to expect. I should have known just because it was great last year around the times that I was back there. That it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be good this time of year. I just didn't really think about that. So after I packed everything up and headed out, I pulled the trail cam card that I had set up on that scrape right there in the back logging camp, as we call it. And I figured I'd be able to get some information off of that, because I didn't see a single deer when I was back there this morning. So I pulled the card, and then on my way out, I swung out to the field to kind of check how everything was growing. And I was gonna pull the two cards that I have set up in the field, as well as another trail cam that I have in the area that's been giving me fits lately. And I thought I had it worked out. So I just wanted to swing in there and pull that card too. And it sits up in the front of the property. So I wanted to pull those three trail cam cards just to try and get an idea what's going on there. Normally every time I stop in, I stop out to the field and just pull the two cards that I have there. So when I was going to pull that other card that I have up at the front of the property, or the north end of the property, I noticed there's a huge scrape that had just opened up on the main ATV path right there that heads out to the field. Lately there's been oaks or acorns dropping all over around that area. When I was in there last weekend, I could see that trail system from about probably 100 yards, and there's just deer moving constantly moving through there, moving east and west, heading out to the field and coming back from the field, literally from sun up to like 12:30. So that scrape was set up on that ATV path, which runs parallel to the deer trail, or most of the deer movement. Seems to be about 5 to 10 yards inside the wood line from that trail, but they use the trail as well. So I saw that, and then I also noticed that there were two rubs 10 yards away from that scrape, and the two rubs were actually in that trail, the deer trail that runs parallel to that ATV path. And so it was all within about 10 yards of one another. And the other camera that I had to pull was just about probably 100 yards down or west of the ATV, or on that ATV path. So I went down there. I noticed that the camera was still acting up, and I had set up a scrape in there, a mock vine scrape, and it just seems like the deer weren't using it very much. I don't know if it's because, I think it's because the branches on the tree that I hung it off of only go out maybe 5 feet, so the vine itself is only about 3 feet from the trunk of that tree. So I don't know if they just don't like being so close up on that tree, or if it's just a little too far off of the ATV path for them. It sits about 10 feet off of the path. and I tried kind of cutting a little trail to it and connecting it to another deer trail that intersects the ATV path. But it just seems like they're not using it at all. So I took the camera down and I took that vine down, and I literally went over about 15 yards and hung a birch tree or a beech tree branch. I hung that off of a tree that's hanging over or leaning over the ATV path. So it's literally the new scrape, the new mock scrape is now set up directly in the middle of the ATV path, and I put the trail camera about 10 feet from that mock scrape, and I set it at waist height. So if there's nothing on it this weekend when I go in there, I'm definitely gonna pull that camera out and put a different camera in there. I did put a camera over the new scrape that the deer had opened up as well, though. So the game plan for this weekend coming up, I've got a northwest wind. I'll probably hunt the field, the main field / food plot in the evening. I don't think I have the right wind for the one stand that I do have set up on the property. It sits in or on the east end of that plot, but I have a trail camera over there, and it sits kind of tucked in this little patch of there's a poplar tree right there and a bunch of brush that has grown around it, or like hedges really that have grown up next to it. It might be autumn olive, and so I'll be able to, the plan right now is to get in there and kind of set up a natural ground blind set right there, and I'll be able to hunt that field. It seems like my one buck that I nicknamed Baker, he's a 12 point, so I call him Baker, or Baker's dozen. So he seems to be coming into the food plot whenever there's a cold front that comes through. The few nights that we've had a decent cold front come through historically, he's been in there this season, so, and in daylight. So that's the plan right now. I'll keep you guys posted, and fingers crossed, we'll see what happens.